welcome to the Dangle podcast. We are back. Season 2 is back. We've missed you. We've missed the Dangle podcast because we've done nothing for a while. But you can clearly see our production value has gone through the roof. We are taking this thing to the next level.
We're in the garage.
We've been shunted to the garage by the love and support of our wives. So we're in a garage and we're making the most of the situation. So check out the socials for the behind the scenes, but we are making the most of it. It's going to be amazing. But season 2, we are continuing our pursuit for Karoon, and we will be swooned by Karoon week in, week out.
Karoon's going to end up coming to see us.
Yeah, he'll be in the garage.
So this episode is Driver Rankings 2023. Because I know that everyone on the internet has been waiting for our driver rankings. All the other driver rankings by people like Martin Brundle and even Karoon.
Doesn't matter.
What do they know? These are the driver rankings of people that really know Formula 1.
So 100%. And it's pure opinion based on absolutely nothing but vibes yet again.
We sat down and within 5 minutes we had our driver rankings done. So it's more a gut feel.
It's more gut feel, quick fire, boom, 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 boom.
Okay.
So do you want to explain how it's going to work?
There's going to be a column. There's going to be Dane, there's going to be Glenn. Driver number 22 is going to pop up. It's the first time I've seen Glenn's driver rankings. It's the first time he's seen my driver rankings. And then we're going to take 30 seconds to chat about it and move on until we get to driver number 1.
But let's start right at the bottom. Let's go.
Okay, so driver rankings and let's see.
Start with number 1. Okay.
So driver number 22.
Let's go. Let's just pop both of them out.
Okay,
so we know Logan Sargent.
We need say no more about Logan Sargent.
Logan Sargent has single-handedly ruined the budget cap for Williams this year with the damage that he's caused.
Logan Sargent is also the luckiest Formula 1 driver to get a seat after his performance.
I mean, if I wasn't self-employed and I produced that over a year, there's no way I would hold on to a job.
But the nice thing about what Logan Sargent has done is that he's even sort of inspired me to think I could become a Formula 1 driver.
Because I mean,
if he can get a seat,
he's looked at Latifi and he's gone, hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
Honestly, he's taken it to another level.
Don't forget about Nikita.
Oh, no.
Right, driver 21. Oh, okay. Look at that, De Vries.
It simply had to be the only driver to be sacked. Not the only driver to be sacked halfway through the season, but the only driver to be sacked this year. And
can I just say one thing about this, is that Nick De Vries, if Logan Sargent and Nick De Vries were in different seats, Nick De Vries would have kept his seat in Williams, and Logan Sargent would have lost his seat earlier.
Yes, definitely.
So Red Bull are cutthroat when it comes to drivers, eh?
100%.
I don't even think
we saw what happened with Albon, and
and Nick De Vries came with pedigree. He was your rookie of the year.
That's what I wanted to say. He was my rookie of the year prediction, and he was absolute shite. So I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, Nick. That's number 20.
Good luck in Formula E.
Yeah.
No, really, I'm wishing well. Okay, driver number 20. Cheapers. So that's on how you spell Perez.
With a Z.
It's with a Z.
Well, that's how poor he's been.
It's not even worth spelling his name properly. Are you saying that Sergio Perez?
That's Robert Perez from the old Arsenal player.
Are you saying that Sergio Perez was worse than Lance Stroll?
Yes, in the machinery that he was given.
Okay.
So what I based it on is sort of just general performance, number of points scored, but not just that. The gap to your teammates in the same machinery.
The gap from Stroll to Alonso was significantly larger than the
not a chance.
I guarantee. Go look at the stats. Go look at the stats.
I think if you added up every other driver's points, you could fit it in between Perez and Verstappen.
Did Sergio Perez physically assault his personal trainer?
Yes. No. Stroll did.
Stroll did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Sure. Okay.
Perez for me was.
Which one now? Robert Perez from
Arsenal? No. Sergio Checo was the most disappointing driver.
I can't agree. I don't disagree with that. No. I just think Lance Stroll was worse.
And my Stroll's coming soon. I'm going to go for a Stroll very soon.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel bad for Liam Lawson.
You're saying he was the
worst
driver.
But the only reason why I say that is I can't really rate him. I can't really rate him because he did like 3 races. I can't really say he had a few incidents in those 3 races. So I can't really give
one of them being like knocking both Red Bulls out of qualifying in Singapore. Eh?
Yeah, but that is an anomaly. I don't think it's not fair.
What did this guy do?
They did absolutely nothing. But it's not
did
fair.
did Lawson not do more than Zhou in the time that he had, in terms of like just impressing with the machinery that he had? I think he did. But
no,
anyway,
because I do think AlphaTauri was better for those 3 races than the Romeo.
But I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to justify my rankings. Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, then I've gone with Zhou. So Zhou was particularly poor.
Yeah.
I don't know how he has kept his seat, to be honest. So he must be drawing mad money.
I think
from
his dad
China.
owns Kick. Or
Steak.
or Kick Steak.
Kick Steak, F1, whatever you want to call yourself.
I think it is interesting though, because there's always talk about like Formula One being more diverse. So like they need a Chinese driver.
Yeah, but are we just? Is it a quota system? Is that what we're dealing with? Or are we dealing with the best 20 drivers in the world?
They say it's the top 20 drivers, but in actual fact, it's not.
It's the top 22.
There's some guys in IndyCar that are probably better than some of the F1 guys.
100%. Okay, so I've explain Hulkenberg to me.
In hindsight, if I think about him with Magnussen, I think it could have been either or. But yeah, Hulkenberg actually qualified decently, but then in the race, just never ever. But then again, but the car, I understand the car.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Sure, this is gonna be a big.
Okay, let's
anyway.
go. 17.
Okay, so Zhou is obviously for me underperformed.
Okay, so K-Mag there, him and Hulk.
You were either or.
It could be either or.
Okay.
So,
So for me, I love Daniel Ricciardo. I've put Daniel Ricciardo there. I just think maybe my expectations were so much more that he was going to blow Tsunoda out of the water week in, week out. And he seemed to perform the same. Sometimes better, but sometimes worse. And I know you've just thrown him into the car. So it's not necessarily fair on him to expect him to perform. But it was slightly underwhelming.
Are you saying again that he was... that obviously Magnussen for you is lower down. Are you saying that Kevin Magnussen had a better...
In the car that he was given, yes.
Okay.
I think Magnussen and Hulkenberg, I think personally, were incredible this year. They had a lot of Q3 qualifications, which means that they raced the tits off of that horse.
Sure, I disagree. I think the car and them, I think they were one of the most disappointing driver lineups. Yeah. Anyway, okay, 16, Valtteri.
Ah, we've got a match.
Bottas.
Yeah. No, Bottas. Joe Bottas, Alfa Romeo, just piss poor.
Could have been.
Honestly,
I think that Valtteri is not going to last beyond when Alpha. Well, what are they now?
Yeah,
what are they? The stake F1 team, the Sauber team. Yeah, they're Sauber. When they become Audi, then Valtteri will be done.
Yeah,
I don't think he'll have a seat.
I agree.
But also by then, he had a good stint at Mercedes. He was Lewis Hamilton's best teammate he had, and he was. Can I just say that of all the second drivers that we've ever spoken about, has been the best second driver.
Yes, of course.
So consistent,
best supporting role.
Always in and around the points podium, not just points podium. Yeah, always.
Have to agree.
And he was like the perfect foil for Hamilton, because there was never any like talk about him getting fired for being really bad.
Yeah.
Compared to Perez. Anyway, but Valtteri, 16th is as good as he's gonna get.
Yeah. Okay, then I've chucked Stroll in there. I 100% agree. I don't think he was that bad, but I think Stroll had severely underperformed in his machinery. I mean, the first half of the year, that car was on the podium week in and week out.
Yeah, with Fernando.
Yes, they tapered off, but cheapers. I think there was like a 6 to 8 week period where he barely finished the race. He just went off the map completely. Yeah. He should have broken his wrists again.
That's why for me he's up here. He was even pushing above De Vries at a stage. Again, if Stroll was in the Red Bull setup, he wouldn't have lost. Maybe even as long as De Vries.
Fair. I think De Vries just found himself the wrong place, wrong car, wrong place, wrong time. It was just a
and if you put De Vries in the Aston, he would have been closer to many of drivers. Would have been closer to Fernando than.
Agreed.
So, but also remember,
Tsunoda. You were happy with Tsunoda's performance?
I don't think he's good. That's why Ricciardo for me is.
He's better than Tsunoda.
I think Yuki is like overrated. I think he's one of the most overrated drivers.
I think he had a relatively good year.
The commentators always talk about how Yuki's this, Yuki that.
Yeah.
He's been finishing P11. Remember when he had a stint of P11s? I'm not convinced. Put it this way. Okay, here's the question: if you're in an AlphaTauri, then the yardstick is: are you going to get promoted into the Red Bull seat? So when Sergio Perez, his contract runs out and he's not a Red Bull driver at the end of this season, is Yuki Tsunoda going to be... No, he's not going to be the driver in the seat. He will not be the driver in the Red Bull seat. He won't. No ways. I don't think.
I agree with you. I agree. I can't argue. I wouldn't put him in. If I was Christian Horner, he wouldn't touch a Red Bull.
He's going to be in. Well, he's going to be driving the RB19 this season.
Next season. Yeah, this season. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay, Perez, and I've got Tsunoda. So Tsunoda's pretty close.
Perez for me was really underwhelming. He's not even in the top 10.
Yeah, he's a shocker with the best car in history.
In the history of the 70-something years of Formula One, the best Formula One car. So it's essentially the best car ever made.
Yeah.
A racing car ever made. Yeah.
Just poor. Perez,
so inconsistent.
I don't know what you're doing, but I don't know how you've kept in that setup, I don't know how you've kept your job. Tell, yeah.
I remember, I think for me, the moment with Perez where I lost sort of complete faith was the dive bomb at Suzuka.
Yes. It's like
I think it was Magnussen or one of the Haas.
In that hairpin.
And he just basically absolutely...
Well, that was the race that he retired and then came back out of retirement. That sums up.
That was a total embarrassment.
That Suzuka weekend sums up his season.
So he was in the car and sat there, and then they just put him back out for what reason again? I don't know.
It was a 2-run.
Can someone comment and explain to us?
Remind us as to why he went back out. There was some sort of rule that
he could go back out, but why would they send him out? What's the point? What was the point? Okay, we'll have to. Okay, 13.
Ocon.
Jeepers, Porgy, pudding and pie.
Yeah, listen, I'm a Mercedes boy, and
wow,
to me,
who's in your top 10? If George Russell is not in your top 10,
well, we'll see, boy. We'll see. But for me, Russell has been extremely underwhelming. The car was not great this year. But if you again compare him to his teammates, useless.
I think
useless.
that,
and to his own admission.
Yeah, but I just think that George Russell is actually got a very difficult position at the moment.
Yes.
He's in a difficult spot.
Yes,
and I think considering the position he's in, and the pressure for Mercedes to win Hamilton a title, and that's what they say.
Yeah.
Toto comes out and says he needs to get Hamilton his 8th. I think he did okay. I think he didn't. I think he knows he could have had a better season, but is he the 13th? Is he number 13 on this? Definitely not for me. I mean Esteban just didn't do much.
Honestly,
but then again, the Alpines are just the most average.
Alpine should be called. I was going to just say Alpine should be called average F1 team. It shouldn't be Alpine.
There's no the thing for me is that they're a works team.
Yeah.
So they've got all the resources that other works teams have. Yeah. Why are they not better? Or the question is, why are they not improving through a season? For me, Alpine just sort of like got to a level, and then they just sort of plateau. And the level I'm talking about after like the race number 2, they fired Otmar Safnauer. Yeah. Did that help?
No.
And another top guy left. The guy that came out. Remember at Miami, the guy came out.
Yeah.
One of the top CEO guys was saying how ridiculous it is that they spend all this money. He's gone.
Yeah.
So anyway, for me, Esteban was really disappointing.
Listen, Alpine is just bang on average.
If you're an Alpine supporter, it must be very difficult.
No, you have to be French. That's the only reason why you support Alpine.
What soccer team would it be like? Would it be like supporting United? Because they have this big name and they've got this big reputation in Formula One.
No, because United have won things. Renault won some things. I would say it's like Tottenham Hotspurs.
Yeah, that's not a bad. Yeah.
Just average.
Yeah,
just average.
Like flashes of.
Can produce, but nothing.
Okay. So Esteban 12th for you. So you're
12th.
saying Esteban Ocon had a better season than George Russell relative to the package?
Yes. So I'm just saying relative to the package, and I have to look at the driver pairing. So like gap to driver pairing. Ocon and Gasly were bang on each other. So I can't say that he underperformed. That gives you a clue as to who's coming next for me.
But are you saying that? So my thing is always, if you put Russell in Ocon's car, would he not have done better than Ocon?
I don't think so.
You think Ocon would have?
I think Ocon's a good driver. Okay. I just don't think. I think he's just limited.
So for me, Danny Rick gets 12th spot. I think he came in and did okay. I think that people were expecting him to do better and to really outqualify and sort of overshine Yuki. I was one of them, I think. Yeah, but ultimately, like, he got unlucky with his handbrake.
Yeah.
And then, average. But you got back
better than Tsunoda.
Oh yeah.
Considering Tsunoda was
he's the incumbent
driver.
And and he's and Tsunoda's the senior driver. If you think about it, that's crazy.
Fair enough.
Okay, so we go into the the second and only second part of the list. Right. Let's go.
Okay, so I've got Gasly straight after Ocon. You got Lawson at 11. You obviously Lawson flippin' blew your mind.
No, he was absolutely outstanding. I think for me, the race that really made me sort of stand up and notice him was Zandvoort, when it was those conditions, those changeable conditions. I think he was brilliant. I think he showed that he's a proper racer, and he will get a seat at the end of this coming season. So Perez will go, and then someone will go into the Red Bull seat from AlphaTauri. Probably Danny Rick, and then Liam Lawson. I'm pretty sure that's sort of happening in the background already. Honestly, I think he's So I'm actually interested to know what Lawson will do this season. Where he will go? Will he go back to Super Formula? I don't know. But he was impressive for me. Super impressive.
Okay, fair.
And he
I
came in.
can't knock him. I just didn't see enough to go. Because De Vries 2 years ago was great in a Williams, and then he came back, and then was.
But also for me, remember Lawson came in, so now he hasn't really ever driven the car. So it's not like he's had pre-season with the car.
Fair.
Maybe and he came in and he had to learn the procedures, and he did really well.
Fair.
So, and put it this way, sorry, one more thing. When Danny Rick came back, it was like I think people were like, a little bit disappointed that Liam Lawson was not in the car to see how it would progress. Right?
I see, yeah.
That was my
feeling. The development program of Red Bull.
Yeah.
You want, fair enough.
Okay, so I go Pierre 10th.
Okay.
So I think
close to Ocon.
The reason for me was that he got into the top 10 was because of the fact that he outscored Esteban
in the first year in the new car.
And I think he did well. I was impressed. But also, I just like Pierre Gasly.
So that's the thing.
In an AlphaTauri of 2-3 seasons ago, what was it, 3 seasons ago, where he was going like 6.5, 6.5.
Yeah.
That's when AlphaTauri was still like
the package. The package is everything.
Yeah.
Like
if anyone from Red Bull is watching this, then stop developing an AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
And whatever it's going to be called, and
just go into Red Bull.
Christian Horner has left the keys.
A massive page of like tracing paper, and just
there's a rock outside Milton Keynes headquarters, and under that rock is a key. And Christian Horner's left that key there. Laurent Mekies is gonna. You go to that. You pick up the key. You go in. They've already painted the car for you. You drive it out the back, and there's your car for the season. Don't develop it.
No liveries. No. Well, we know what the Red Bull livery is going to look like. So it just Okay. Okay. Fair enough. For me, K-Mag is into the top 10 purely from qualifying pace. I can't.
But Nico, have you had Nico on your list yet?
No.
Then Nico, okay, then he's okay. Wow, okay.
So I think both of them were impressive, and that's why they've kept their jobs. But I mean, also Sargent has kept his job, so that's not an argument.
Yeah, it's not a yardstick anymore. But it seems like if you were in the car last season, you were automatically in the car, no matter how.
But for me, K-Mag and Hulkenberg impressed with quali pace. The car was their limiting factor with regards to if they had a car that had race pace, they would have pace.
So this season is the litmus test, because then surely Haas are going to improve their car. We'll see.
Not a guarantee.
Okay, right. So I go George in the top 10.
Okay.
I agree with you that he had a disappointing season relative to what we thought he could do after the season before that.
Yeah. So he's come off a Grand Prix winning season.
Yeah.
And then done.
He's binned it, and the thing about George Russell that I think a lot of people were surprised by is sort of his radio comms and like he's trying to assert himself in the team, but also he's the second driver to Lewis Hamilton. So the radio message is almost like he's sort of pretending to be the main driver. Yeah. He's like wrestling for that seat.
I like the fact that he's demanding. He's asking questions about strategy. He wants this and wants that, and complains a little bit because that tells me that he's just a racer. He wants to win
and beat his teammate.
Yeah,
I understand that.
And
but
I
he
think
didn't beat his teammate.
If you lose that, of course. But if you lose that, if you stop going for a gap, then you're not a race driver anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. For me, Hulkenberg, I couldn't separate. Hulkenberg was definitely better than K-Mag this season.
Yeah, I'd qualified him many times.
Almost every time. But showed like ridiculous speed. Like there was a couple of 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in arguably the worst car.
Yeah, the Haas was awful again.
So I can't go on championship points, but I just base on the fact that they had pace and they outperformed their machinery.
Okay, inside the top 10.
Okay, so for me, this is where it gets tough.
Now it's going to start to get stacked, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Oscar Piastri.
I've got Piastri, and listen, as a rookie, Oscar Piastri did amazing. The only reason why he isn't further up are for the fact that
he won a sprint race, eh?
Yeah, he did.
And he was very close to his teammate, if not ahead. The closest, I think, of all
Fair.
They were probably the closest two teammates.
Fair. But
And
he
he's-
had far less podiums than his teammate.
Yes, but
So-
was much closer than any other teammate. And maybe
Yeah.
Sainz and Leclerc. No, I think Leclerc was probably ahead. By,
Leclerc was ahead of Sainz.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah. So
So-
yeah, Sainz for you?
I think Sainz was underwhelming this season in general. I think apparently he's got a contract extension coming up, which is not as long as
That he wanted?
well, it's not as long as
Leclerc.
Charles.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's obvious that he's the second driver.
Yeah.
So for me, I think he will go to Audi.
In 2026.
Yeah, I think he'll go to
I
Audi.
think so too.
I think
he will.
I think he will be done with Ferrari by then because, I don't think there's much of.
So for
but
me, Sainz,
underwhelming.
Sainz did a lot better.
He won a race.
He won a race. That's the litmus test. He's the only other person to win a race.
Besides a Red Bull driver, that's
Yeah.
insane.
So to me, that's why I can't put him as 8.
Okay. Good. Charles, yeah.
Leclerc. I think it's fair.
I was thinking about having him higher up, but then I looked at the other list of drivers, and I had to have
based
him lower
on their
down.
machinery.
Yeah.
So
And
for
also,
me, go for it.
the number of podiums, and I now I understand that the Ferrari is not a good race car,
Yeah.
but Sherbert, and also their strategy is still shocking,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
so when he gets a podium, it's actually like it's anticlimactic because I know for a fact he's not going to win the race.
Yeah.
But then again, some impressive stuff that he did. That last lap overtake
on Perez. Oh, beautiful.
at
I love to
Miami,
see it.
at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But sort of not his best season, I don't think.
Not his best season, but still showed great pace.
Yeah.
For me, the only reason why I've put him higher up or lower down, I guess, than Sainz is the Grand Prix win. I thought Sainz was incredible in Singapore. Absolutely incredible.
No, he was. But then after that, Leclerc
But
overtook him again. Anyway,
that's
literally.
okay, fair enough.
Okay.
So yeah,
That's also Alanos.
Ineos.
Subliminal message.
I'm glad you've done it. So
Ineos.
I look like the only. For me, I've gone with Sainz just above Leclerc.
Okay. Sainz.
Yeah. So for me, Sainz just above Leclerc purely based on the fact
Because
that
he won a race.
Because he won a race. In the machinery, Leclerc could have won the race, but didn't.
Okay. So for me, Fernando Alonso.
Alonso.
Start of the season was brilliant. Through the season, I think he was the guy that got the most out of the car, regardless of the package. So
Okay, fair.
now we go to top 5, eh?
I mean, listen, the amount of podiums that man produced.
Yeah.
And
the fact that every time, one of the coolest things for me in the season was every time he was on the podium, then he would lower the champagne for his pit crew. That was so lekker.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay, so I thought so.
Yeah.
Alex.
Sherbert,
this guy. Ring, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, Jesus. Alex Albon. By all means, please, if you can flip and make contact, we'll love to have you on the podcast.
That guy was.
Oh,
can I just
what
say
a season?
that
What a season?
After what happened at Red Bull,
Yeah.
I think everyone thought, listen, this guy is done.
Yeah.
Like he's not actually strong enough to come back.
Yeah.
And be a Formula One driver again. And I was one of those people that thought
You were ahead of.
and he came back, and he carried Williams. Single-handedly carried that team.
Literally, there was a team with
Yeah.
one arm tied behind their back.
Yeah.
And he was everything. He was absolutely everything, and he was everything. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully Sargent learned from him, but he was incredible. I can't say that.
I think James Viles now also obviously worked with Lewis.
Yes.
And he's had like fantastic things to say about
Albon.
About Alex.
Yeah.
So I think he understands how good he is.
Yeah.
And could he be the guy that slots into the Red Bull? Do they give him a second chance?
Oh, what about? I mean, he's now with.
What about him
Williams.
to Ferrari?
What about him to Mercedes in a couple of years?
To replace
Louis.
Louis.
So you got George and
King Louis.
You go
Yeah.
So there's
Sure.
options. There's definitely options.
Now,
you keep doing what you're doing, Albon, and you are flipping. You can go anywhere.
No, he for me was probably the most impressive driver.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get number 1 spot because but he was fantastic.
So then he should have been second.
No.
Yeah, on that. Yeah, but not enough praise for him. Okay, so I've got Alonso, not Alanos, but Alonso in 4th. And this, like the green machine, what the Aston Martin completely tapered off and just stagnated the second half.
So
they brought upgrades that made them worse, and it was just dreadful from a team perspective. But Alonso raced every inch. He's always going to do that, though. He's always going to give you that. But he did extremely well for the first 10 races, I would say, of the season.
And even when the car wasn't doing well, he was still often there and thereabouts,
and a lap
also
ahead of his team,
miles ahead of his team.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
The car wasn't.
Piastri.
Yeah, rookie of the year.
Fair
won
enough.
a sprint race. Close to his teammate for me was outstanding as a rookie.
Yeah.
And also remember there was controversy after he didn't sign for Alpine.
Yes.
And he's been going thanking all the stars that he can possibly find.
Yeah.
So
also bear in mind, sorry, I'm going to give you more credit, which I probably should have put Piastri lower down. Is Piastri was second to get upgrades every time upgrades came out.
Yes.
So Norris got it almost like a week ahead of him.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate, and he could have probably even done more.
The other thing was that there was a lot of pressure on him because he didn't take the Alpine seat, and then he took the McLaren seat, and he put pressure on himself because now everyone's going, listen, okay, you think you're better than, and he produced. He flipping produced.
No, he was incredible.
And also we must shout out to his mom, who gives us great entertainment whenever she tweets about him. Piastri's mom.
I thought she was interacting with the Dangle podcast. I was like, who is this woman?
Maybe we'll get her on as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're in the top 3. Lando. That means the top 3 are locked in. We know the top 3 then.
Yeah. So we got Norris,
Lando,
Hamilton, and Verstappen. Yeah. That's. Okay. I mean, I'm glad we've come to that. Norris, incredible this year.
Our top 5 are all the same except 4. Eh? Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah. So Lando was as Lando in a way. The problem with being as good as Lando is that we kind of like expecting him.
Yeah.
But I think we forget how good he is, and he made mistakes this year. Eh?
Yeah.
He made a couple of mistakes this year, and then a lot of the punditry was like, oh, he's being pushed by his teammate.
Yeah.
And I think he made more mistakes this year than he has in previous years, but that's because of the pressure of his teammate.
For me, the only problem with Norris is like the media puts so much in any sport, but in Formula One in particular, potential means nothing. Potential means a race could have the most potential in the world, but produce nothing come the end of 10 years.
I give you Royston Drenthe, that played at Everton. Do you remember?
No.
And he was at Madrid, I think.
Yeah.
Royston Drenthe, I think that's his. This is like
the most
phenomenal one. Yeah.
But that's what happens when the media. I think it's the UK media that are like particularly bad.
Are
but
intense.
I mean, we both expect amazing things from Norris. But my fear is that like if he doesn't produce.
So what is the
5
next?
years could go by.
Yeah.
Another 5 years could go by, and he hasn't won a race.
He still hasn't won a race.
That's a concern.
That's a big concern.
And I don't see him winning a race in the next couple of years as long as Max Verstappen breathes.
In saying that, if you look at how McLaren progressed through the season,
yes,
they have clearly for me the team besides Red Bull that have most understood the way to go with the car.
Yeah.
Because every upgrade they brought was exceptional. Eh?
Yeah.
They took a significant step ahead.
Yeah.
And I think that
arguably say that at the end of the season, the second best car.
Yes.
Definitely the second best car, actually.
Yes.
Oh, although Ferrari ended quite strong.
Yeah, but McLaren had like no points after like the first 5 or 6 races.
That's true.
And they ended what? Where did they end? Third? Fourth? No, fourth.
Yeah.
So I think, Lando did amazingly.
Yeah.
Okay, Louis.
Okay, yeah, Lewis for me was incredible.
Under the radar, but don't you think like
very under the radar? It's because there's no race wins. So for me, the only reason why Lewis gets a second spot for me is because he was fighting a Red Bull for second spot.
Yeah, and it went down to the.
I don't think at any stage in the season Mercedes had the second best car. In the beginning of the season,
not even maybe the
Aston
third
Martin,
best car.
Not even the third best car.
Their car was always bad.
Somehow he was able to pip a third place here, a fifth place there. He just accumulates, racks up points all the time. Never a DNF. I mean, we can say that about the next man, but just always there.
Yeah, I, as a Verstappen fan, and as often when they were clashing in 2021, sort of like, I have got to give Lewis Hamilton was exceptional this season. And he was brilliant. But then we hail King, King Max, the King of Monaco,
what more to say about Max Verstappen than, I mean, he's literally flawless.
I give you Monaco qualifying. I think that sums up Max Verstappen.
Third sector qualifying. Yeah,
he was probably it was the most dominant season that a Formula One driver has ever had.
Yeah.
And the thing that I actually enjoyed the fact that Perez struggled because I think a lot of people, the Red Bull's mighty. It was mighty, but Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, it's the combination of the two. It's Schumacher in a Ferrari, right? It's Hakkinen in a McLaren.
Yeah.
It's like it's Hill in a Williams. It's not it's not just having a fast car.
Yeah.
It's how to and week in and week out,
Yeah.
every single.
So
week,
for me, it's the consistency,
The
definitely.
consistency
But
was
I have a
true.
newfound respect. I'm not a Max
You're not
Verstappen fan.
you're not a Max Verstappen.
I can't say I hate the man, but I dislike the way that he drives and his aggression. And I think he's still too a little bit gung ho. He's been a lot more polished this season than he was in the past. However, I've got a newfound respect for his ability to park a car in the right, like whether he's defending or whether he's attacking. He's just a racer. He's a born racer.
He's
and you
brilliant.
see all these things like in the off season. He's like going to this, he's in a DTM car, and then he's freaking. Yeah, I don't know. He's all over the place. He's rallying here and he's doing that. He can't not be in a race seat.
No, he was
He's
brilliant.
sim racing. He's doing that.
So a lot of people will say, sort of to end off, a lot of people say it was a boring season, and to the sort of like regular F1 fan, I understand
Yeah.
that, because it was like sort of the same person winning
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
But for me, as someone who really appreciates F1 for like sort of the stuff below the surface, which I
Yeah.
know is a little bit sort of like philosophical, but like to watch him and produce every week
Yeah.
was it was a treat.
Yeah.
And so Max Verstappen, he won the championship single-handedly. He
Yeah.
won the constructors championship
Yeah.
without Sergio Perez.
That's our rankings for 2023.
Season 2 has begun.
Season 2 is here.
We didn't even know season 1 had ended. We just stopped making content.
It ended abruptly,
ended.
but we're glad we're back, and
We're
we're
back.
glad you're back watching. Please don't shunt us to the garage like our wives did. And yeah, we'll catch you guys at the next one. We really appreciate your support. Hopefully, what's coming up soon is a lot more Premier League action with the off season of the Formula One. We're going to be talking Premier League, United.
No, I don't want to talk about United.
We're talking Liverpool. For me, we're talking who's going to win the title race. So let's wait and see, and we'll catch you guys at the next
Well
one.
days.
Thank you so much.
Wanna be you.